golly, Donna and I have just about had enough of storms. We were on the way back to Douglas, Kansas, and we're about, I don't know, 80 or 90 miles from Kearney, Nebraska, and got a call from granddaughter Kristen, and Donna hung up. She said, that was Kristen, and she wanted to know where we were, and said, okay, you should be in time. And I said, in time for what? Well, she said she didn't say. Well, we got there, and she was so glad to see we're there. Had us put the car up in, I think, the garage. Yep, in the side. And we hadn't been there just a few minutes, and the tornado alert went from alert to take cover. So there we were in Kearney, Nebraska, down in the northwest corner of the basement area, and they had a little cubby hole underneath the stairway. She and the three kids, and the lady helper was there to help with the autistic great-grandson. They all got down underneath there, and I thought the young man that was there went down in there too, but whether he did or not, Grandma and I sat outside close by in chairs and looked out the window. The window wasn't where the glass would hit us if it came in. Theoretically, anyway, if it came in straight. Well, they had a couple of small tornadoes hit Kearney. Lots of wind damage. We didn't actually see it, but we were there. And after all those years of having just finally seen two little tornadoes, by golly, we were experiencing one. As we looked out the window, the neighbor's big tree blew. You could tell it was a straight wind, and then every once in a while, whoa, little twisty. Something was going by with a little twist to it. Nobody hurt. No big deal. Well, stay there 2 or 3 days. We come down to Douglas, Kansas. Can't get our television to work. And so we don't get the alerts. The second or third day we're in the house. But, whoa, tornado cover time. Tornado warning time right in Douglas, Kansas. And it was scary enough that we decided, hey, we better find out where the place to go is in Douglas, Kansas. And on Thursday, we went to the senior center place, had our lunch, played the cards, and we're ready to make do and go to the high school where we were told they opened up the locker rooms as a place to be out of danger during a tornado striking the area. Well, we were there. Maintenance man made sure we knew where the entrances were and so on. Everything's copacetic. But comes around, I don't know, 5:30. The granddaughter in the edge of South Wichita calls and said, you better get in here because there's a bad one coming, and the television people say it's time to take steps, be ready to go undercover. Well, gee, who's going to turn down a chance to spend time with a granddaughter or a favorite place to go and talk sports with the grandson-in-law and two lovely little girls that like to play with me? So we load up and head in. Well, they call on the telephone and say, where are you? And we said where we were, and they said, hurry. Well, we're hurrying, and I look up, and I see this wall cloud that I've been told by our son was a sign of where tornadoes might generate. And gee, we're getting really close, and I look up, and there are two tornadoes dragging, but they're not down. They're dragging behind, going from south to north, probably more like southwest to northeast, and they call again and say, hurry. The man says it's time to take cover. Well, we get there just in time, and it goes on over, and the weatherman says, well, in case you think I was panicking, I want to tell you folks, That's as close as you want to get to having a major tornado strike. And it moved on. All through the night we heard a lot of rumbling thunder and lots of rain falling somewhere. And just before we got there, when that thing was right at the time that the weatherman thought it might drop down, it did strike with great force of straight wind and heavy, heavy rain. Well, that was Thursday. We come back. The first thing you know, we got another alert situation in our town on Sunday evening. I'm outside loading up to take stuff to the dump. You have to take your grass clippings and your sticks and take them to where they chip them. So I'm just ready to call Donna and say, hey, you want to ride to the dump? And holy smokes, it hit with a great force. Come to find out, a wind of 100 miles an hour. So this morning, we were delighted to see that it doesn't look like the roofs were hurt, doesn't look like the buildings were hurt, of our two little houses right there where we are. But in the front yard of 202 Maple, some big limbs down. Across the street, big limbs down. Up the street, big limbs down. Well, still have only actually seen where I looked and saw two little tornadoes. But here in the last week, we have been a little bit more intimately acquainted with bad weather, tornado weather, 100-mile winds. Oh, well. Give it another 2 or 3 weeks, there'll be very little rain and no tornadoes. Well, it'd be a rare thing to have a tornado. But it's the season now. The monsoons bring in those hot air, cold air situations that spawn critical weather conditions, and across the nation are spawning more tornadoes than anybody wants. I'm so glad that our communities haven't been damaged heavily. Even there in Kearney, Nebraska, no one was killed. In fact, no one was hurt. As far as I know, no one's been hurt these last 2 nights. But we've had enough. It's all right, God. You don't need to demonstrate any further.